Hello Facebook, I'm Ellie Frost. Happy Friday. I can't believe it's Friday this week. Oh my gosh, right? So leading with vision, what before why, right? This I'm talking about because whenever we get stuck or confused or overwhelmed, or we are just putting complexity over like our purpose, our mission, our vision, the whole thing, we're getting into a space where we need to come back in to the core essence of what it actually is at core. I'm so good at doing this with people. Elevate You really brings you into this essence where everything that you've done, been, desired, that looks fragmented, where maybe you've changed roles, maybe you are, well, we're all evolving. The fragmented pieces that don't seem to make sense come together, because what it's truly about for you, right? What it really is gets ignited and known at a different level. And that is the clarity we want to always come back to when we feel lost. Because what happens is, hello, I can't see who's long on, but say hello. I'm talking about leading with vision. I'm talking about when we get confused and we go on the merry-go-round and we're questioning things, we're not then ignited by our core what, not why, what before why. Let me explain. What it's really about for us at a core level, at an evolutionary level, at a soul level, rarely changes. How we do those things does. So many of us, we get scared to pivot. We get attached to the thing we're doing way more than what it's truly about for us. It was never about that one expression. I teach my clients this all the time. Sometimes they need to evolve past things. Sometimes they need to let go of old things they used to do. It's not aligned. But they think that that was the thing, not the essence of what it was about for them. What's it truly about? For me, it's about setting you free. For me, it's about self-actualization, bringing you into your authenticity, into your truth and power, bringing you into the limitless life of your desires and dreams. What's part of that? You have to drop the trauma. So I'm really good at removing trauma with people. What's part of that? Being able to psychically see what that soul essence is a gift I have. With other things, what's part of that is your business strategy, your model, your expression, the extension of you, right? So I've had a huge business background, but it was never about that business background, and it was never about just being psychic, and it was never about anything but what it was for me beyond all of that. And when people say know your why gives us meaningful context so that we can keep anchoring in why it's important to the world, why it matters, right? But the what comes before the why. You've got to know what it's truly about. The what will lead you through anything because you know at the highest level what it's about. Even your struggles in the context of what it's about for you will make sense. For example, you know, setting people free, being limitless. Why did I get to deal and understand and work with them people with PTSD and other things? Because trauma was blocking manifestation and I wanted to set everyone free. What's it about? Why would you get money struggles? Well, if you're trying to create a limitless life, right? What's that struggle about? Transcending the limitation. When we know what at the core level, right? Do you need to know why your what matters? Not as much as it needs to turn you on, get you up and inspire you to change, to do, to move, right? Because for example, do I need to know why I love a Caesar salad or why I love certain clothes? Or do I just need to be in what the feeling is that they feel good, expansive and resonate with me? What first, right? When we're trying, so many of us are trying to drill into these little whys that are actually taking us and distracting us from the what, right? Because the what will want to come out of you. And when it's really about that highest thing, it's such a core thing in us. In fact, everything will make sense. In the Elevate You process, there's many things I do with people. But even the stuff that you will have found from childhood, like the movies that have inspired you, the books you read, there are certain things that core soul essence, I call it your brand essence, your soul essence, it was there the whole time. When you try and put it in the context of making sense of it in the outside world, it's well, I've been a business strategist and I ran a brand agent, I did all these different things. But when you really bring it in to what was it about? What was it about? And who was I needing to become to be the fullest expression of that in my life, in my work, all the things, right? That what gets you through. Knowing your why gives you a context that you can help explain to people why it's important, right? I used to have an agency, and I'd teach people, like, what the fuck does it mean to me? Like, it was one of my ways of explaining marketing. Like, people have to understand why it matters to them. That's why people say talk about the results. But there's no one way of doing this. There is your way that will be the most powerful. So you don't have to... If you're leading with this vision, if you're leading with a vision that's so compelling, people will get behind it no matter what, because they will want to stand for it too. It will ignite a piece of their vision in them, what they want. And as long as you are doing it purely with real stuff that you can offer them in alignment with that, then that's all they need, right? So what can be so I teach people in my visionary to visionary experience, for example. The hardest thing for visionaries, right, is that we've got this moving vision, and this moving vision represents a new world. It represents new ways, new paradigms, new ways of life, a new world, right? And it's moving because consciousness is moving and it wants to come through. And we try and connect at the level of vision sometimes that people, so when we're marketing and things, that people can't quite grasp, right? Because we want to connect on the humanity, not just the visionary level. Some people, they can only connect to a piece of that vision, but it doesn't mean they're not your audience. One of the biggest struggles in my business that I've been looking at recently, right, is I've been looking at how do I impact the masses and the people I'm used to working with who are already big visionaries, already big players in the world. And I made it very complicated because in my heart of hearts, I know, hi Lisa, hello. In my heart of hearts, I know that there's no difference between like the people that I've worked with that are hundreds of $1 million brands that have impacted the world in massive ways and the visionaries starting out that see new ways in the world and they haven't managed to break through yet, right? I know they're the same type. I know they're the same people, just one of them translated into the physical and one of them hasn't yet, right? And then there's people in between that who are doing great things and leading different things, but maybe don't want to set up completely new ways for us, right? So in my mind, it was separated. And so what I did was I set up a business where I would work and run a strategic agency with mainly celebrities, household name brands. They had a social conscience. They wanted to change things for humanity on some level, but can be through beautiful art. It's not a moralistic term. It's just a way of describing something that I was talking about, pro-humanity, something that was good for them, for me, for you, for the whole world. The collective was in mind, right? And the online business was about setting everyone else free. Oh, hang on, my doggy. Hang on. My doggy. Milo. Hang on. What's up, baby? Come here. Good boy. What happened? Oh. So, you know, what I want to do at core is elevate consciousness, set people free, set up new ways that are collectively good for humanity, good for all of us, that elevate the whole thing on both levels. But I'd made it in my mind somehow different and I'd separated it in my businesses. So there was like the online, like I say, and the agency, when the core essence, the what, was about the same thing. And it's always been about the same thing. When I had my first job, right, I worked with a celebrity, huge celebrity now in the UK, who wanted to change the world through food. And we did. You know, he went on and changed government policies, grocery standards. I set up and franchised restaurants all over the world for him. He's done TED Talks and been on Oprah. He was changing things, right? It's the same what. I just did it in different ways. And so in our business, we get so attached to this program or the podcast. I'm not saying podcasts are great, by the way, but like we get attached to the vehicle, not the what. And then people are like, I need to find my why. But when that means you're not connected to the essence, because let me tell you, when I go and have a meal that I love, I don't have to think why I love it. I don't have to sit there for hours and think, well, why don't I like bacon? You know, I don't have to think about that. You know, I just don't like it. And I can choose to just align with what it is for me, what sparks me up, what, you know, like people, when you're digging for this why, you've got to go to the what first, the essence, the core first, right? And then the why is that important to the world is the second step. It's about how do I connect that with humanity? Because like I was saying with visionaries, are what compels us, but depending on who we're working with, it's a piece of that vision for a lot of them that they'll be ignited by. So for the mass market or for people in my online containers, it's a piece of my vision. Whereas for the people that I was working with, mainly I am working with in the agency, it was more most of that vision, right? So how people want to tap in and relate to our vision is different depending on how we want to share it. They might tap in at different levels or for different reasons, but we need to know the what. The what is more important than the why. The why is, like I was saying in my kind of like way of explaining in marketing, the why is a context that gives it meaning so people know what the fuck has it got to do with me, basically. What the fuck has it got to do with me? One of my best marketing strategies that I've taught lots of like very stuffy executives. But like, no, that's not a judgment, this is fun, you know, I'm just playing. But like, so much distractions. There's so much noise here today. Okay, so this core essence, this what, we don't think it. It's in us. I can read it because I'm psychic, but like, and like, I'm here to do that. I've got the wisdom. Like, I just managed to unlock these things in people. I can see it. I can feel it. I can put them into their authentic power. But the point is, it's when it drops in. It's the same as the thing about like, why do I love that food? I don't have to think about it. Why do I want to wear that outfit? I don't have to think about it. It's just me. It just is. It's just exhilarating. It just feels good to me, right? If we haven't got that foundation, that linchpin underpinning it, then we're always going to be confused in the complexity of figuring it out and understanding these like other things that are the next layers. They're not the core layers. So we want to get this core layer done. So Elevate You is my 10-week thing. It's business, it's brand, it's you, it's your authentic power, it's all this kind of stuff and so much more. So it is it's application only. So I need to talk to you to see if it's right. But that's one of the things that we do in it. But I would do that work with, you know, in anything I do, I'm always bringing you into your true essence. So we want to know what, underlying it, the highest level what. When I was working, well, throughout everyone I've ever worked with, it's always dropping them into that biggest what that changed the entire context of the business and brand, you know? What is it really about? What's it about beneath that? What's it always been about for you? What do you really care about? What are you really shifting at an essence level that's beyond any particular offering? It's what it really is. And then from that, the right, what I call like extensions, but, you know, products, services, ways of working, are just experiments on some level, you know, and they will keep evolving as changing often as we do. Not always, because sometimes we might have something we create and we just want to sell it for all of time. That's fine. But even in those situations, like the way we market it will change as the world changes, right? So this core essence, that's what people are looking for. That core essence will get us through any challenges because we know it wasn't about that thing that we're trying to do. It was not about that program. It's not about that. It's about what this really is for me, what I am an expression of in the world. What is the thing that I am unlocking in humanity, if that's where you are, or even just wanting to be aligned with in this world. So there's different sort of levels of this on the spectrum and none of them are wrong. It's like we're all needed at different levels of this. Some of us, a certain vision is ignited in them and they want to do a piece of it. Other of us want to really dramatically create new ways of everything. You know, my big thing is demystify the whole thing, make it really simple for people to self-actualize and monetize who they are and what they love, what they're really here to do in service to humanity. But again, like these words are taken in certain ways because we've been conditioned. And what I really mean by that, in your pure essence, in your pure truth, in a way that elevates consciousness on the planet in some way, could be by creating beauty. Doesn't have to be some morally good cause, but it has to be a win-win-win for the collective. So what could you do with this? Go into what it's always been about, what it's really about for you, beyond any business, beyond any job, beyond anything. Like, what is that thing that is so if the world changed and that was the way things were done, and that's would be easy and like effortless for people to do, what is it for you? What would you want to, how do you want to set people free? How do you want to ignite people? What do you want to ignite in them? What do you want to be an expression of for them? You know, or produce things that are. Some people want to ignite, like I say, beauty and art, imagination, freedom, whatever it is, right? We know this at such a core level, and it seems so simple, but it's not the thing that people are thinking about. They're thinking about their why. Why do I want? As soon as you're in that thinking brain, you're not in your soul essence, right? You've got to know what first. And the why, as I say, is a context for other people to tap in. The why is what anchors me in and helps me know why it's important for us. Why is this actually important? But the what should be as easy as like, I love this meal, I love this dress, I love this movie, right? It's just undeniable in us. Now, of course, there are some whats that we are drawn to from our trauma and our wounding, which I can help you with, because that's not what I'm talking about. But the difference is, when it's not coming from a wounded place, it is just inspiring. It's way beyond our fear. It's just true. It's just true. We just know it. It just feels like, you know, it's not tainted. It's not hard to think of. It's just expansive. And that's what I teach as well, like my year membership and every live experience. The reason I do that with people is because I create environments for you to expand and shift your consciousness. You can't learn that. You can't cognitively know. I mean, you can cognitively. I've gone through PTSD. I've sat with veterans because I had to master this and channel the healing, all the things, right? This isn't all the things, is it? Because it's not obvious to everyone. But like, we can cognitively know a lot. We can think a lot. But doesn't mean that we know how to be beyond it, right? So we want to connect to our essence. We want to connect to our hearts in a different way in order to really gain magnetism, momentum, truth, and power in what we're doing. It doesn't come from our cognitive brain. So why I create the experience is that in that environment, you will feel those things. You will see the clarity. You do. People in my world have such crazy breakthroughs. People in my world all the time say, how do you see what you see? That's my gift, right? I just see it. I just know it. That's why I've worked with all these big people, because I see it at the core. I can tell you. And I'm not convincing you. Like when I say something to someone, the reason it resonates is because I'm channeling it. So it's hitting you at a soul level, and it's resonance. You know, you just know. Like you can drop it. If it doesn't feel true in your body, you'll drop it, right? So like that can help, right? People that can really see that because it's hard to see it for ourselves often. But the environments I create are for that consciousness shift, elevation of consciousness, coming into your soul, coming into your truth, coming into your power, coming into beyond the fixing, beyond the thinking, the purest place where it really is. And then we can put in the strategies that are aligned. Then we can do all the other stuff. But we want to strip it right down into the kind of what I call, it's beyond the highest vision, it's the core essence of everything, and then expand it out. And that is the process of Elevate You. There's so much in that. We do a brand print, which is a complete roadmap of, you know, the kind of, I'd call it like the DNA behind what it's really about for you. I say, like, I always did brand strategy with people because it was the strategy, not just the positioning, but like the actual truth of it, the highest version of it, what it was really always coming back to, because that's your compass, that's your roadmap, that's what's going to get you where you want to be, and not so attached to what you're doing in the short term, knowing that it's all just an expression and extension of that core. That then gives you permission, especially as a personal brand, to go into many different things, because it's always coming back to that one thing at core, right? It keeps us on track, and it keeps us in our power, and it keeps us way beyond being attached to what is always isn't working, or going in these loops of complexity. You know, genius is what I also teach in Elevate You, and genius in my work is demystifying the whole industry and making it fucking clear and simple. That's what genius is, taking so much complexity. Like, there's so much complexity in my work and what I've done and what I know, but being able to do it and articulate it clearly and actually be with people where it gets simple for them and not fragmented and complex and a headache is the key. I can't work in complexity because it's overwhelming for any human brain, right? So there is genius. When we access our genius, we're able to strip the complexity out. see through all the kind of, just demystify all the illusions and come into very clean ways of working and very clean ways of executing that just make total sense, right? When we're stuck in complexity, we want to access more creativity, more genius, not just in what we do, but how we do it. This is the other thing in Elevate You. I'm teaching you how to use your genius in the ways, and in Visionary to Visionary, which is the one I'm launching after Elevate You. You know, I talk to my guys all the time about the visionary how. When you're asking, how do I do it? You're not in your visionary, right? What's your visionary way? And there is such a beautiful way that I do this with people. So I'm about to launch Elevate You. Then we're going to go into Visionary to Visionary. I'm also doing the one-on-one on reinvention, because I feel like anyone that's going through shift, transition, there's so much of that right now in the world. That's just going to be channeled, energetic, one-on-one portal. It's a special lower price. But it's for people who just want to come and do 6 weeks of like channeled trauma release and energy activation into breaking chains of the past, activating who they came to be, like reinventing yourself, letting go of the shackles, being the new you. What else is going on? There's lots of things on my website, and more than I even have anywhere put down. So if you want to have a conversation, people that have worked with me for years know that I won't sell you anything that's not for you. In fact, I turn people away from my work, not because I don't want it and love it, just because I only will tell you what's aligned. So that's it for me. Happy Friday, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.